It's our podcast, The Cutting Room Floor.
Let's talk about ghosts. I know your reference for ghosts is The Ghost of Mrs. Muir, a show from the 1960s.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
So what was the premise of that again?
He was an old sea captain who lived in his old sea captain house. And
As a ghost.
As a ghost. And no one would buy the house because he was habiting the host.
He would
house.
He would appear
Yep.
wearing an argyle jumper and smoking a pipe.
And he'd scare off all the people. And then along came a young widow.
Attractive woman.
With some kids, and she was quite attractive, and he was beguiled by her.
And she kind of got him.
Yep.
And
she said, I'm not leaving here. I'm not putting up with you. And they had this relationship.
It doesn't
he
get
was
more
from another
platonic
world.
than that.
I was very platonic. It's just like a normal marriage. But he would.
But you and I used to speculate as to whether he'd watch her in the shower. That was never covered in the sitcom.
He'd watch her when she was sleeping.
Would he?
Yeah. He'd say, Mom, if I was alive, I would.
Is that what he'd say?
Yeah.
No,
he would.
You make
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, he would look at her.
She was a third his age.
As she was. He was very hunky. Who was the actor?
He was a hunky old guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a hunky old guy.
Anyway.
But she would be asleep and he'd just look at her.
What if she brought someone home?
Well,
that's when haunting goes bad.
That is covered in one of the episodes. A
Is
guy.
it like the Brady Bunch when they were trying to sell the house and the kids all dressed up and, woo, I can't buy this, it's haunted. Was it like that?
Is that the ghost saying
No,
that?
that was the person who was going to buy the house.
Yeah, because the little Brady kids, they came. Yeah, but the ghost and Mrs. Muir, I've forgotten the ghost's name.
Did he frighten off the...
He'd just make windows open or a sudden rain cloud appear.
And she'd go, oh,
and then
ghost.
There was a guy, a smooth guy, doing his smooth moves.
And he got scared.
And because all of a sudden a big rain cloud, and maybe he made his dick fall off or something. I don't know. That's what I'd do. That's what I'd do. If it was the
You'd
ghost,
haunt me, wouldn't you?
I'd say, oh, Amanda, you've been on the toilet for some time, haven't you?
Let me get back to why I'm talking about this. These paranormal investigators believe that ghosts, like humans, have a limited time span, and a number of the big famous ones are dying out. When all the data is considered, they say, this is after studying decades of paranormal analysis, they say it's quite a shock to think many of our once famous ghosts could be literally dying. Twice, I guess. The study included 100 well-known haunted spots with reportings of sightings and spirits spanning back hundreds of years. So the project Half-Life suggests that sentient ghosts seem to have a limited lifespan like humans. In simple terms, the second law of thermodynamics tells us that energy tends to disperse and degrade over time. So I would argue, they say, that our findings show ghosts conform to the second law of thermodynamics.
Yeah.
And appear to run out of energy. Ghosts, they say, are interacting less than they were 100 years ago. You're going to enjoy this particular story, Brendan. One ghost in particular, who they think is yet to die its second death but is likely to happen very soon, is the ghost of Winston Churchill. The wartime PM is haunting the women's toilets on the Queen Mary, according to a ghoul hunter. This singer and ghost expert, Brocard, claims she saw the cigar-loving statesman stalking the hallways, lurking around the women's lavs on the ship when it was docked in California.
Why would he go there? Yeah, come on.
Well, you can't smoke in other places on ships.
Maybe that's what he's smoking.
Maybe the
don't he?
toilets is the only place you can do it. But maybe he could have chosen the men's. So he's still being seen occasionally.
Sure.
But not as often as he was. So these ghosts are dying out.
Do you believe in ghosts?
No. Do you?
No.
I don't believe that we know everything. I believe there's some paranormal stuff, but I don't think they're ghosts. Why do ghosts only appear at night? Why isn't it Mrs. Kafups who died 2 years ago?
Yeah, I agree.
Why do they choose to reveal themselves sometimes and not others, and some places and not others? Why don't they appear while we're on the radio here and go, man, and do a time call? Why don't they do that?
The ghost of 80s DJs.
Yeah.
I've never had a paranormal experience, although the closest I've ever had, I worked at a resort down at Charlotte's Pass. It's called the Chalet Hotel.
Don't tell me that Winston Churchill was outside the ladies' toilet there too.
Having a quiet smoke. And at the start of the season, I was down there with the new manager. So it's just him and I, this whole hotel. It's like
The Shining.
Yeah, it's very much Overlook Hotel. So it's already got that spectral vibe going about it. And so Greg and I, this is the manager, we're just sort of, having a few drinks in the bar, And I told him I'd been there the season before, and the Chalet Hotel famously had a ghost apparently called Muldoon who'd hung himself in the hotel. And a lot of people the year before had said, oh, have you seen Muldoon yet? You ever seen
Had you seen him?
No, I hadn't, but I used to smoke a lot of weed back then as well, so there was a lot of times. And even when there was a lot of people in the hotel, it was kind of creepy. And so I was telling Greg about this, and the challenge was the season before was to walk along the top corridor of the hotel, which was a very, very long corridor and dark and creepy at night by yourself, and walk from the stairway to the end and back without running. And that was the challenge. And no one would witness you doing it. It was just a thing that you would do yourself. So I told Greg about this, and he said, we should do it. And I said, oh, you reckon? Okay, sure. And it's only him and I in the hotel, and I'm always curious about this stuff. And he said, you go first. And I said, of course, naturally, I'll go first. So I went up the stairs, and there's a very ornate staircase, and there's those little light sconces on the stairs. Mm-hmm. So there's just soft lighting. So I walked to the top of the stairs, and I'm going on the corridor, and I can still hear the music from the bar downstairs. And as I'm walking along, halfway along the corridor, the music suddenly dims to a point where I can't really hear it. All I can hear is the whooshing of my pulse in my ear. Mm. And then as I'm coming to the end, I swear I could see a shape. I'm not too sure. It's just, and when you're straining your eyes?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, and I look down and the wall sconce lights, they're not on anymore. And I'm going, hang on, why are the lights gone off? And then I'm looking at this shape and I thought, okay, I've gone far enough. There was still another, I reckon, 20, 30 feet till I got to the end of the corridor, but it was so dark I couldn't see it, just this. So I've turned around and started walking back.
Walking because you're allowed to run for the challenge.
And then all of a sudden I'm going, bugger this, and I'm running. And I've gone screaming down the staircase, and then something's jumped out. It's Lairdy, the guy, Greg. He was waiting at the middle landing to scare the hell out of me, but he didn't expect me coming down the stairs so quickly.
Was he switching the lights on and off?
Well, this is the thing. We both ran into each other, fell down the stairs, this big ornate staircase, and we're laughing so much about it. And I said, yeah, good on you, you dickhead. And he said, oh, man, you scared the shit out of me, and we're just doing that. And I said, good work turning the lights off. And he went, I didn't turn the lights off.
And whose shape was it? Was it him?
No, that was at the end of the corridor. He was waiting at the landing.
So you don't know.
I don't know what it was, but here's the thing. The light, I turned around and said, you'd switch the lights off. And I looked at the staircase and the lights were back on. But then I thought, were the lights on all the time? And it was the power of suggestion.
Oh.
It was really.
Oh, so that doesn't answer whether there was something there or not.
I think a lot of it, as I get older, at that time, if you'd asked me, I was 19 back then, if you asked me, I'd say, yeah, I believe in ghosts. I think it's more a power of suggestion in your mind.
And maybe you're smoking less dope now.
Yeah, I'm off the weed now, of course.
Yeah. Hey kids, that's it for today. Come back tomorrow for more of Jonesy and Amanda's Cotton Moon.